Cool. Hello, everyone. Let's see if the clicker works. Yes, culture is business. I wanted to remind everyone a little bit about teams. It's not something super groundbreaking, but repetition is a feature. And I think especially in these times when lots of people get laid off and it's kind of easy to replace people, I think it's still important to remind ourselves kind of what good looks like. And also, like when we arrived here, there was like after 5 minutes, like we met 2 people already that were like big resumes, really good, great people, and out of a job for like over a year. So I think it's a tough time, so it's still very important to think about this. So what I wanted to talk about is teams again, and it's an ongoing theme today, I think. Very, very good. Teams are an investment, and teams also need to grow. And I wanted to go a little bit more into the specifics, what that actually means. So one of the most important skills of a team is the ability to resolve creative conflicts in a sustainable manner. And first of all, you want to have creative conflicts because otherwise you're in a cult. And then you can end up in like very strange places. So you want to have creative conflicts. And the thing is with creative conflicts, nobody knows all the things alone. Like I've met people who told me like I am a logical person, so therefore I know how things work, and everyone else is just stupid. But it's like no, other people are smart too. So first of all, that is like very important. And creative conflicts are a way for a team to like complete their picture of a certain situation. And it only works if you have a team that has like these uncomfortable discussions only work if you have a team that has a good culture and if you have an environment of psychological safety. And you have to have a good team first, right? Before you can make a good game. First, you have to create a good team, and then you can create a good game. And what I wanted to talk a little bit about is, okay, what constitutes a great team? I think the slides are a bit out of order. No? For some reason, I don't know. That was kind of more in the beginning because, like, we all know this culture eat strategy for breakfast. But what does this actually mean in detail? When we come back to the resolving of creative conflicts and how teams can actually do that, my example is this one. So nobody knows all the things. Like we use creative conflicts to like complete our mental picture of a situation. And the thing is, when someone disagrees with you, you actually should not become defensive. No, you should become curious in a way. It's like we often tend to like mix up like the relationship we have with each other with the problem we are trying to fix. Or in other words, like that when I say this feature is not working, it's not an attack. No? It's like, no, we're here in the same boat. We're trying to fix the problem over there. So that is kind of how you want to use creative conflict. So in this case, it is a means to see like every angle. No? And it's not about our relationship. It's about how, it's about the problem that we are trying to fix. So I don't know, it's really, the whole slides are like really out of order somehow. I actually wanted, there was also a video in there, so I don't know what you're doing. Okay, let's go back to this one. I don't know what you're doing with the slides here. Look, no, here I'm in the beginning. Okay, let me just try to get it from memory where we are. So because when we are here, fantastic. Now I have to improvise. Okay, let's go back to resolving creative conflicts in a sustainable manner. Local life. So nobody knows all the things. Disagreement should make you curious because in this case, with like the number here, one of the persons actually is wrong. Someone has painted that number. So what the team should do is like find the best way forward. No? Find the best option. Creative conflicts is a way of like finding the best way forward. And that is then what makes a good team. And if we go, now I have to like find the right slide again. So what constitutes a great team? So I think it's like three things. There's like subject matter expertise. Of course, you need to have people who know their craft, who are subject matter experts, basically. And I had a video in the talk with Steve Martin. Maybe that is what screwed it up a little bit. But like Steve Martin had like a cool interview. It was a couple of years back, of course. And he got asked, how are you successful? How do you make it in show business? Like, how do you, how are you successful? And what he says basically is you shouldn't approach this from a perspective of like, how am I successful and how can I be promoted? You should approach it from a perspective of like, how can I be really good at my craft? So his message basically was, you should focus on becoming like the best environment artist there is on the world. No? And then people are going to come to you. So you should approach it from that perspective. You have to be so good they can't ignore you, basically. So if I would have a tip on like teams and people and how you become a best subject matter expert, is like stay humble, learn your craft, and like all the junior designers, everything, have patience and be useful to your current project. And I really like Matthias Lilia, the quote from, you are here to solve your boss's problems. Like, you're not here to create new problems. You're here to solve problems. So that's very important. Let's see, then how can we get to the next purpose? Like, no, here. Yeah, there's a few slides here as well. Purpose. So it's three things that is important for a good team. It's subject matter expertise. Purpose is the next one. And of course, we pay. First of all, there's a great video from Daniel Pink about self-determination theory and autonomy and everything, and I think everyone should watch that. But then, of course, we have our employees, we pay them, and but the thing is with money can never be an end goal. Money is like it's the way, like when you have the money, the thing you do with it, that is the purpose, pretty much. And in terms of teams, like think about, you want to inspire a team, you know? If you tell the people in the team, we want to make money, it's like probably the most lame and uninspiring way of how you can motivate a team. And I'm also, funny enough, looking at most of the mobile companies because they are mostly guilty of that part. Yes. So not at Rovio, of course, because they're. But my favorite example, let's see if I can find the slide, is in fact from Paradox Interactive when I worked a few years back. So I've been out for a couple of years, so I don't know what they're doing right now. But back then, I think Paradox had like probably the best purpose I've ever heard in any company I've ever worked on, before Rovio, of course. And that was what they said, is we want to make the world a nerdier place. And I was like, yes, this is awesome. This is why I work here and not at a different company. It's like, okay, cool, I can sign up to that one. So if you have a good purpose for a company, it's for a project and for a company, it's like, think about, why are we doing this? What is the purpose? Like, what is the point of what we are trying to achieve it? And when people ask, no, what is the purpose of this team? Why are we doing this? You better have a convincing answer. Huh? And then you get people to move. And then, yeah, that is like the end of the discussion of the bad stuff. Advanced stuff. Okay, let's continue here. So subject matter expertise, purpose, chemistry. Because chemistry, there's a very cool anecdote from Ed Catmull, from the guy who was working at Creativity, or wrote that book, Creativity Inc. And that is a lot about talking about team chemistry and stuff. So now I need to find the correct slides here. These ones, at least that's the first one. So he had a story about team dynamics, behavioral dynamics, basically, in a team. And he was on vacation. He was taking a vacation. They had rented a camper like this, and they were going with like he and his wife and like a couple, a friendly couple. And then they were going and were driving and driving, and then like his friend was driving, and they were going through like a course that had a lot of roundabouts. Maybe we can like find, yeah, here, these ones. So there was like a lot of roundabouts. And they're like very hard to navigate with such a big camper and stuff. And then like his friend was driving and his wife was in like in the neighboring seat basically. And she started kind of like nagging about the driving style of her husband. So I think, like, why are you so slow and so? And then like they continued driving. And at some point they blew out a tire. So they were driving here and then what happened was super interesting to Ed Catmull, what he said. It's like, okay, he said, okay, what happened is that his wife intensified the nagging. So he was like, now you blew a tire. It's like, no, no, no. And then he was like becoming defensive, like, if you would stop nagging, like I wouldn't, like I haven't blown a tire, like stop bothering me. Like, they were like constantly bickering all the time. But what they did not do was in fact to stop the car and like get out and like assess the damage. So the point is, if I can find the slide.
One stood up.
Ah, okay, that's the video. No, no. Where's the point? What was the point? No, I don't have it, I think. I'm sorry. No, I wanted to make a point with this one. So anyway, okay, let me just do it from memory. The point is you have these dynamics, these behavioral dynamics, and you have these with two people. And like people and teams of like 5 people, 10 people, they can get locked in like a certain behavioral dynamic, like once they grow and they work on something. And that can even prevent them from doing what is necessary. So they can go like, they can get locked into some sort of like way of working, and then they just stop seeing the forest before the trees in the end. And that can happen with like any team. Like if it can happen with 2 people, it can happen with 5, with 10, with 15, with like your whole team. And then the point is, as like a stakeholder, as a CEO, as someone who's responsible, you want to take care of this. Because if you don't, then it's random what you get. No? It's like if you don't take care of like in which direction these behavioral dynamics evolve, it's random. And then you're kind of banking on luck. And then I would ask, like, when has luck ever been a good business strategy? So I think that is important. That's like the biggest lesson here. And I think I can end this talk, this a bit chaotic talk, with what bad looks like. I don't think I have like all the slides for here. So let's maybe just go through these lists. Because like if that is all the things that are relevant for a good team, I just wanted to give it a bit of opposite of what a bad, and a caveat when I say bad teams, because I think there are no bad teams. There's like only inexperienced leadership, I would say. So it's in 95% of the cases, it's not that the team is actually bad. It's like, it's just leadership doesn't really have the required experience, I would say. So what I did, I applied like this, the Toyota production system. And if you apply that to the games industry, you get something like this. So for example, these are like things that kind of bad teams do. So how to waste time. No? There's like overproduction. This is like when you have like, when you get into this, okay, we just need one more feature and then the game's gonna be great. Then it's gonna be awesome. It's a great way to waste time. Then we have waiting. This is when you have like bottlenecks. For example, at Remedy, at some point, we had like one guy who was the only person in the whole company was able to do like to get the data from the mocap stage into like into the games itself. So like for all the games, there was one person who could do it. So fantastic way to waste time. Marginal drains is like it's like these small inefficiencies. It's like when you have like when you shift data in the project from left to right that isn't really necessary, or I don't know, when you have stuff in a balancing Excel file and then you have to like manually put the values into the game, and like, oh, it's a fantastic way to waste time. Over engineering, of course, is also very good. It's like when when you program a system to open a door, but then it's like super elaborate and it takes like 3 weeks, and then you have like one door in your game. So it also works for design. You can over design a lot of stuff. So like junior designers love to do that, like over design shit. Then you have defects, which is kind of like the opposite of over-engineering, is when you when you work so sloppy that like a simple bug fix becomes like a 2 days endeavor for the whole team. It's also a fantastic way to create time. Excess inventory is like when you don't care about your documentation, or like when you have an onboarding, like a new code, and you tell them, yeah, the documentation, don't use that, and like this part of the code, yeah, that's outdated, so don't ignore that one. Fantastic way to waste time. Underutilized talent. Also, we had a designer also at Remedy who was really good at like making AI behavior. And then at some point where I thought about, okay, we should actually ask our designers what they like to do. No? And then it came out that this guy was actually like, I don't really like doing AI. So he was like more into procedural generation and stuff. And we were like, oh, that is good to know, no? Because like if you don't, and because he was good at it, he would kept doing it, but then like he gets frustrated at some point. And the last one is basically my favorite. This is like over processing when like the whole working process becomes its own goal. When you do like, yeah, do we have to estimate everything, and everything has to be a Jira ticket, like everything is, and you completely forget that it really depends on like the team size. If you have like 5 people, you don't need a process. You can wing everything. If you have like 10, 15 people, then you start to need to have like at least a sort of overview of what is happening. And of course, if you have like 200 people, then everything has to be like heavily like regulated and stuff. But that is very important to, it's a great way to waste time. So I guess let's see if I can find the last slide here. Yes. Here we are. It was a bit chaotic, but I still hope it was a bit.